Tut, 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 tut. Have we been deceived? Have we been lied? Have we been bamboozled, y'all? Okay. This is going to be in relation to the Mr. Don Julios and Casamigos. I personally never had Don Julio. I heard that it's amazing. I've had Casamigos. They're pricey, okay? But I personally really like Casamigos. I just don't get it because it's not in my budget, okay? So I just don't get it. I get my little El Jimador on my Haladura, okay? Haladura. But anyways, okay, so apparently the word on the street is that they are not 100% agave. What we doing here, okay? Are we just out here lying to the consumer? Now, some people are saying, maybe it could just be a competitor or whatever, right? But some people are also saying, no, some of these people be lying too, okay? I remember I was in, was it Specs? Was it Specs? It was Specs. I was in Specs one day, and we were talking to one of the associates about, the alcohol and all that stuff. And one of them said, yeah, a lot of this stuff, they hype it up. It's very expensive. But you may want to go 2 shelves down, and that one tastes better than that one. And it wasn't out of like any kind of like, oh, this stuff, nah, whatever. It wasn't any kind of crazy stuff like that. It was just like, seriously, like this stuff is not as good. But they have this price tag on it to make you think like, ooh, it's amazing. But it really isn't all that, But yeah, I mean, you have a lot of companies who like to cut corners. That's what they're saying allegedly is going on over here. But let's go and take a look. I have a video that's going to be talking about the agave and all that kind of stuff. And then we're going to go and get into some other people's reactions on said topic. Let's get into it.
100% of the world's tequila is produced in Mexico. You heard me. Every little bit. But not all tequilas are created equally. In honor of National Tequila Day on July 24th, we're going to Casadora's distillery in Mexico to see what does Mozart have to do with their process. You heard me, Mozart. And we'll also learn more about how they make their tequila.
Every step of our process has elements that are unique to our brand, starting with how we harvest the agave. There are some producers that prefer to use non-mature agave plants because they can be a little more affordable. At Cazadores, we always like to wait for the full maturity of the plant so that it has the right amount of sugars so that it doesn't change the flavor profile we're looking for. What is special about our extraction process with this diffuser that we have is the way we can extract all the sugars from the agave plant with less waste. In other milling processes, you can waste 30, even 40% of the agave juice and sugars, while here in the diffuser, we extract 98% of the sugars at least. There are some scientific studies about the effect of classical music and sound on liquids, on living organisms. They tend to prove that there are positive effects of classical music. We do it because it's part of our tradition, part of our recipe.
We use a white American oak barrel, new ones. Different barrels give you different products sometimes, but you have to blend them. The perfection is to assure that the profile never is going to change.
Ready for a Mexican toast?
Yes. Okay.
1, 2, 3.
Arriba,
abajo, al centro y para adentro.
Okay.
It is National Tequila Day.
So we're going to celebrate.
National Tequila Day.
Yes, we're going to celebrate, right?
Oh yeah, 100%.
But you need to say that, not me. You got the microphone on.
We're going to celebrate. So today we're going to be making a prickly pear margarita. From there, I'm going to add some ice into the glass. What you're going to do from here is you're going to take your bottle of tequila, add 2 ounces of it in the shaker. And then from there, we want to add your sour. And then you also want to add your prickly pear juice. Now, what we're going to do is add the glass in to shake it. And then you want to bust it open. And there's a prickly pear margarita.
Friends, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but there is a current lawsuit alleging that your favorite tequila brands are not 100% agave as they claim to be. A recent lawsuit seeking $5 million in damages that alleges that Diageo brands, the parent company of Casamigos and your favorite Don Julio, Active Julio, are marketing as 100% blue agave tequila, and they are not 100%. They are mixed with other grain alcohols, making them stretch longer and being able to be mass produced faster. This current information is alleged. There has been no proof to these claims, and the lawsuit is ongoing, so we will see what happens in the next couple of months. However, here are 5 small batch tequila brands that you should check out in the meantime. No particular order. We'll start with T. Capri Tequila. Tiffany Capri is a Black woman based right here in the DMV area. She is the first Black woman to solely own a tequila brand, and her tequila is fire. There are a couple of different places you can find it in the DMV area. However, if you're not local, feel free to visit her website and it'll show you where it can be purchased. Another favorite is Mi Campo. Mi Campo is small batch and small family owned. It is very good, and I recommend this a lot to my brides for weddings because the flavor profile is good, and then the price is often usually on the cheaper side. So it is a great budget tequila that does not sacrifice the quality. A recent one that I found was Mi Gente. Mi Gente is also small batch tequila, and it is very smooth. We had the anejo at a recent event, and everybody loved it, went crazy for it, and said they would start buying it. Last but not least is Fortezella. Fortezella is small batch, family owned, and it's a traditional additive-free tequila. So let me know if you have tried any of these and what you'll be picking up on your next run to the liquor store.
All right. Some big news in the bar and restaurant world and liquor industry this week. And if you're a fan of tequila, you're going to want to pay attention because it involves 2 major players and brand names everybody knows. Don Julio and Casamigos. Now, as you can see on these labels, they claim these bottles contain 100% pure agave. Well, according to a massive class action lawsuit that just dropped in the Eastern District of New York, that is categorically false. The lawsuit accuses these brands' parent company, Diageo, of straight up lying about what's actually in these bottles. It claims that they have been diluting this tequila with cane sugar distillates, which is basically corn syrup, which is disgusting and also 100% illegal if true. Now, the lawsuit was brought by 3 plaintiffs who are no slouches. 2 are mixologists, 1 is a sushi restaurant, and it's seeking damages upwards of $5 million, claiming that they and millions of others of us have been shelling out big bucks all these years, paying for premium tequila, when in actuality we've been drinking alleged, diluted, adulterated corporate Kool-Aid. Now, anybody in the bar game probably isn't surprised by this, because we all know Diageo is king of fake fancy booze. They are basically the corporate Death Star of the liquor industry. Like McKinsey, they go around buying up real brands with heart and soul, gutting them, and then pushing out their shell as still the real deal. Yet they're wildly successful somehow doing this. I personally feel so vindicated by this because I've been screaming like a crazy person for years that Casamigos is basically liquid candy. It's tequila for people who think agave is a yoga class. Meanwhile, Don Julio, for anyone that remembers, used to be a really great tequila. Pre-pandemic, it was smooth, tasted excellent. Pandemic hit. There was a shortage. You couldn't find it anywhere. It was impossible to get. Post-pandemic, somehow becomes readily available, mass-produced, and has tasted completely different ever since, like garbage. Now, this suit goes a lot deeper than Diageo, and it's pretty shady because it also accuses the CRT, which stands for the Consejo Regulador del Tequila in Mexico, also being involved in this, allegedly. And that's the Mexican body that is supposed to govern and enforce the 100% agave rules. The suit claims that they have turned a blind eye and or have taken kickbacks from Diageo while they have mixed in cheaper booze, and they still slap the premium label on their bottles. It also accuses the CRT of allowing massive corporate tequila companies to come in to Mexico, buy fake agave fields, launder this cane alcohol, and still keep the 100% agave stamp on the bottles. Really shady stuff. What sucks here is for the people that are taking the real hit here, which it's not Diageo, it's not Clooney and his boys who cashed out for $1 billion a few years ago. It's the farmers in Jalisco, Mexico, where tequila is made and produced. Their real agave is getting pushed out of the market by the sugar spike stuff. Prices have cratered. These communities are getting absolutely steamrolled by big corporations. And Diageo, of course, denies everything. Their official response is that these claims are outrageous, 100% false, which is what every guilty party says every time they get caught for anything. Now, what's to come of this lawsuit? Who knows? Diageo has endless money to throw at legal teams who specialize in dodging accountability. Even if this lawsuit doesn't stick in court, people are still talking about it, and it's only going to make bigger news, which is actually might be worse for them in the long run. Because everyone's now paying attention to what they're drinking and putting in their body and paying big money for, I'm interested to see how this all plays out and how the court of public opinion finds Diageo.
So what does this mean now? Well, they have to go and prove themselves. They have to fight in court. They actually have to go and fight. They have to test all of their tequila. And that's kind of a big deal. And then, of course, Mexico's not going to like that because it'll feel like it's a slap in their face to the CRT, which is the Regulatory Commission for Tequila. So, it's a big deal.
I told you guys that Casamigos, Don Julio, and P. Diddy's De Leon tequila is not real. So it's been reported that some farmers, some agave farmers from some farms out in Mexico has made some public complaints about Casamigos, Don Julio, and De Leon, stating that it's not real tequila. So what does that mean? So real tequila or high quality tequila is made from the agave plants, the blue agave plants. Now, do these tequilas have 100% agave? Most of them probably don't, but the high-end ones have a majority of the agave plant or the extract in the tequila. But when you speak on the Casamigos, the Don Julio, and the De Leon, those tequilas have something called sugar cane alcohol in it. If you're not familiar with sugar cane is just a plant. It's about this wide, this thick, sort of like a paper towel, and they grow out the ground, and you can peel it, and you can extract it, and you can make sugarcane juice, which is really sweet. Sometimes when you get sodas, if you see on the label sugarcane, that means it's pure. So there's nothing wrong with actually having sugarcane in sweet drinks or having it in tequila. The problem is when you market the tequila as if it's 100% agave. And what Diageo, the manufacturer of these three tequilas, the De Leons, the Casamigos, and the Don Julio, is what they've been doing is lying and saying that it has the agave plants in it, or the majority, which isn't true. What you can also do with the sugar cane is distill it and make alcohol out of it. The majority of rums have the sugar cane alcohol in it. That's why it has kind of a sweet taste, and you can mix it with things like people do like Malibu and pineapple and things like that. And that's the reason why Casamigos is so sweet. When you drink the Reposado, it tastes like it's like sugar water. Now, does it make it bad? No, it doesn't make it bad. It just doesn't make it the high quality that they've been promoting and marketing. So the Casamigos, let's just say a bottle of it is $100, right? Standard bottle. Really, that bottle should probably be around $30 because it's not as pure as they're marketing it to be. What some of these farmers also did is that they did some lab tests to verify that those tequilas aren't as pure as they say it is. So now there's a class action lawsuit against Diageo, the manufacturer and the maker of the Casamigos, Don Julios, and the De Leon, stating like, hey, they've been lying, they've been ripping off the consumer, and they need to either change the label or find something else to do. This just went to court on Monday, Cinco de Mayo, which I don't think is a coincidence. Kind of disrespectful, but hey, it is what it is. Depending on who's pushing the lawsuit, actually. If it's coming from other Mexican tequila brands, I'm gonna stay out of that type of business. But if it's the mother folks, then I think that's disrespectful. But that's neither here or there. At the end of the day, I'm gonna keep an eye on this. But I do have a question. Does this matter to you? Are you buying tequila for the quality or the name recognition? Let me know how you feel in the comments. You know what it is. Fresh Thoughts. Peace.
Diageo. If you don't know, there's a class action lawsuit against Diageo, the owner of Don Julio and Casamigos. And the claim is that their 100% agave tequila is not actually 100% agave tequila. And if you would have told somebody that in the tequila community, they would have been like, yeah, I figured. So anyways, so there has been high volumes of cane liquor and other liquor found in their bottles of tequila. So cane and grain. What that means is, if you think you're drinking tequila when you have those, you're not. You're drinking vodka, buddy. You're drinking rum, buddy. You're drinking anything else, but it's not 100% tequila. So if Don Julio makes you act a folio, this is wild. That is wild. That is crazy. But it's not far-fetched for a big company to do something so backdoorish, you know. So it is what it is. Diageo is probably like, tariffs. What tariffs? What tariffs? Like Devo or something like that.
What bite?
They're like, no, baby, we gonna make this here. This is homegrown tequila, baby. So they thought they was gonna get away with it. I guess it was like tested or something like that. I didn't get like super deep into the story because why would I do that? I got better things to worry about, you know? But anywho, I think this is interesting. I think there's gonna be a good development on this story. I'm also grateful that most of the tequila that's behind me, I've actually been to the distillery, and if not being a part of the process, I've seen the process. So this changes everything. So if anything, buy some real additive-free tequila. Actually, additives don't even have anything to do with this topic. Buy real tequila. And additive-free tequila just happen to be better than the stuff that you're probably drinking already anyway. So there's a lot of bottles up here that's not as expensive as it look. You know, yes, there are some pretty bottles up there, but not all these bottles cost crazy amounts of money. And at the end of the day, we're going to circle back to the story because I want to see what this develop into, because it's Diageo. It's like one of the biggest companies out there in this space. So they're probably going to settle, they're going to pay it and just keep things rolling. Like companies like this don't really stop. Like it's going to take like a huge ban for them to stop doing like those kind of practices. And I don't really see it. I mean, they may start using like lower quality tequilas. I mean, like agave, but I don't know. We'll see what it turns into. But when we spin a block and we come back, we're going to see where they at. We out.